Why is it that if you mention Livonia to random DayZ players, the majority calls it the worst map ever made? It was the very first map being released since Chernarus after all. The environment is very different from Chernarus, and it actually brings something new to the table. I think that if we want to find the answer to that question, we need to take the time and dive deep into what this map is all about. We first, however, have a message from today's sponsor. The world of humans has ended, and now the Age of Apes has begun. Age of Apes is a mobile MMO strategy game where you can manage your outposts, build an army, and become the most powerful monkey of your clan, all in search of that ultimate goal for bananas. For Valentine's Day, Age of Apes is hosting special events and will also allow you to unlock new heroes. The update is out right now, so don't wait to check it out. Download Age of Apes for free from the Play Store using the link in the description, and invite your friends once your City Hall reaches level 5 to receive $100 worth of gifts using our special promo code. Big thanks to Age of Apes for supporting our channel and sponsoring today's video. For me, when I first started playing, I loved it. After years of playing the same map over and over again, it truly was a fresh experience. But once the initial honeymoon phase was over, you started noticing some fundamental issues in map design, loot economy, and overall player experience when playing the map. Now, I also want to point out that some people like Livonia the way it is perfectly fine. I respect everyone's opinions fully. This is just my take on the map after playing it for hundreds of hours, and I wanted to share that with you. Now, before we're fixing anything about Livonia, we first have to identify what the issues are. A common complaint I hear is that the map is too small. It's funny people say that, as the actual landmass is about the same as Chernarus. The player spawns, however, are set up to be more inland on Livonia, so the map does become about a quarter smaller. No, I think the people say the map is smaller is because one of the big unique features the map was bringing was kind of poorly implemented. Here, take a look at this high-res image of Livonia. Look at how big the forest area in the south is. Now, I don't have anything against vast forest being added to the game, but as is, there's not much reason to actually venture into this area. There's no high-end military bases or castle spawning hunting loot and scopes like in Chernarus or anything like that. If you then take this area out of the equation as well, the map being too small complaint is starting to make more sense. This next issue is not as well known, as you don't really notice that specifically being the issue as a player, but setting up loot works very differently compared to Chernarus. You see all these broken buildings. They're literally everywhere across Livonia. Well, according to the lore of the map in DayZ, these are part of towns used to test explosive ordnance on civilian structures like houses. There's many towns that pretty much exclusively exist from these broken buildings, and here comes the issue with that. These are all classed as military loot spawns. When you distribute guns, ammo, scopes, plate carriers, grenades, or basically any valuable item across not just military bases, but also all broken buildings across the map, there's no way to adjust loot with any accuracy as it's spawning all over the place. Think of it as over half the towns of Chernarus all being part of this military loot pool. And so that brings the problem, how can you direct players to hotspots if those supposed hotspots, the majority of the time, don't even spawn the right loot? And one final complaint often described by people playing Livonia, which also sort of is derived from the previous two issues, is that people like to stick to spawn areas and are not willing to take the journey down south. They mostly find the journey too tedious, which is having to run across open fields, not being able to find a good balance of food and weapons when visiting the center of the map with all the towns with the broken houses. Add to that the player spawns are set up to mostly be around the center, people just end up in this cycle of dying near their spawns and running back. Now, all of this is the stuff I noticed as well after playing the map for hundreds of hours, and it's kind of a bummer because, in my opinion, the map has such a unique feel that I think if it had some proper love and attention from Bohemia, I'm sure it could have been close to the level of Chernarus in terms of map design. So for some of you that didn't know yet, I run a group of DayZ servers that represents a DayZ stream team I founded called KarmaKrew. Together with the other members of KarmaKrew, we discussed, besides having an Amask server, what other map we would like to have a server from. With most of us literally having thousands of hours playing Chernarus, we decided to give Livonia another go. Now, we used to host a Livonia server before, but this was a long time ago, and since we have learned a lot on how to set up DayZ servers, so we had the challenge to take a look at what the issues Livonia has as a map are and figure out what's required to fix them. It took us a little while, but I think we figured it out. First up, Dolnik. This town on the southeast of Livonia on the vanilla map is quite literally completely pointless. There's no high-end loot to find here, and with it being quite far and taking a little while to travel to, people just don't come here. Now, before on our server we hosted a while ago, we changed the loot spawning here to make it a little better, but it still was just a regular town. So this time around, we worked with DayZ's best mapper, Dance of Jesus, and we went big. Almost all of the existing buildings have been removed, and it's been built from the ground up to be Livonia's very own version of Tissy, with the loot spawning to match. It's built to have the PvP gameplay be very dynamic because of the big amount of elevated areas, without it feeling unrealistic or out of place. As you can see, a lot of care went into the fine details to get it to truly feel like its own unique map location, and I think we pulled it off. Now, this is pretty freaking dope, but this is only one of the new areas that we added. There's also a completely custom castle in the center south of the map, and towards the southwest, there is a really cool camp area which was used as a sniper school. Each of these areas has some unique items that only spawn there, which then definitely make them worth visiting. And we don't stop there. Remember those empty fields and roads we talked about earlier? Throughout the map, we added small little events that happen that spawn nice little bits of loot, but more importantly, just make the map feel like it has more character. It's also done in a way that feels natural to the game and helps balance out finding loot in areas which normally spawn very little. I think by adding these map changes, Livonia feels like a completely different map. It actually feels finished. Now that takes care of the map part. What about gameplay? One thing the overall more empty feeling areas in Livonia lend themselves well to is by using spots like that to build a base. Now, vanilla base building, although it has improved a lot with the hit point system, right now feels like it's only really used to store stuff. I personally always really dislike that because a lot of the time when you get raided and lose all your gear, what's the point of having that base still being there now that people know the location? You then get frustrated and then decide, it's not really worth building another one. Luckily, I have been working with some really talented modders for a while now, and we decided we wanted to add unique mods to enhance the vanilla base building experience. In total, we're doing 4 mods. The first one that's actually finished is a sleeping bag mod. If you gather enough burlap strips and combine those with a sewing kit, you will be able to craft a sleeping bag. Once you have crafted the sleeping bag and place it down, it now functions as a new spawn point you only can use until it's destroyed. Now this is really cool, but it requires a bit of balancing, so you can only place the sleeping bag within a short distance of a flagpole or a shelter, so they have to be part of a base of sorts. You can also only use the respawn at the sleeping bag once every 3 hours, and you spawn in with half health to balance respawning at your base during a base raid, for example. Finally, the admins will make sure that the sleeping bags won't be too close to military areas. Mod number 2, and right now work in progress, a tripwire mod. Now, tripwires aren't a new thing for DayZ, as they used to be in the game before switching to the new engine. We're doing ours completely from scratch though, as we wanted to take it a little further. Besides being able to attach grenades and flashbangs, ours will also work with a sawn-off double-barrel shotgun and with a flare gun. This last one will shoot a flare straight in the air when it's triggered to alert you of someone trying to sneak into your base, for example. Finally, we're also making it so the length of the tripwire is dynamic, meaning you can decide the length of the rope between the sticks to fit any doorway or passage. The other 2 mods planned for the future is a bonfire mod, which will allow you to regenerate your health and blood faster by building a large version of a fireplace in your base, and a rain still for collecting water when it's raining. Now, when you combine all these mods together and add it to existing base building, it will be worth so much more than just storing loot, and I think Livonia is absolutely perfect for building such bases on. In conclusion, together with some player and loot spawn adjustments, I think this is how we can fix Livonia from being the most hated map in DayZ. Now, all of this stuff I just told you about will be exclusive for our KarmaKrew Livonia server. Like with our Mouse server, our philosophy will be setting up servers in a way where we look for how vanilla DayZ can be improved and building more content around that. If you would like to check them out, they're completely open for anyone to join. Just search KarmaKrew in your favorite launcher, or even better, just join our Discord for more detailed info and our server rules. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Big thanks again to Age of Apes for sponsoring it. If you did enjoy it, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to my channel to help out with getting this video bumped up in the YouTube algorithm. Happy Valentine.